Chosen one within you burns the essence of God Himself, an unstoppable force that cannot be resisted. Your very presence demands reverence. For those who once mocked or doubted now stand in stunned silence, unable to deny the reality of your greatness. And hear me, your arrival at this message is not coincidence. It is divine timing. Heaven itself has aligned this moment because something extraordinary is already unfolding in your life. You are no longer trapped in waiting or hoping. The prayers you once whispered are now moving, alive, shaping themselves into reality before your very eyes. This is not a mere shift in thought, it is a profound transformation of spirit and energy. As the chosen one, you will begin to witness doors opening, paths aligning, and blessings flowing with a speed and clarity that leave the world astonished. Yet to walk fully in this destiny, you must not only see it, you must align with it. You must claim your inheritance and stand in the authority given to you. And before we journey further, pause. Anchor yourself. Hit that like button, subscribe to join thousands walking this path, and write the number 11 in the comments. This simple act is not empty. It sends a signal to the universe, amplifying the very energy of this moment. If you are truly chosen, your spirit already knows you cannot look away. You will remain until the end because something deep within recognizes this truth. The doubters can no longer deny it. They see your awakening. They witness the power rising within you. And now, they bow before the light you carry. For from your very first breath, a spark was placed within you, a fire no hand could ever extinguish. This spark within you was never ordinary. It was a sacred seed, planted by the universe itself, infused with divine power. From the beginning, you were set apart, destined for greatness, marked by a force beyond human comprehension. Your journey was never designed to be easy. It was carved with intention. Every obstacle a sculptor's hand shaping your destiny. The world may have doubted, yet your spirit always knew. You were born not to follow, but to command, to lead, and to conquer. Every step you took was more than movement. It was a silent declaration that strength was rising in your veins. This was not luck nor chance. It was fate woven tightly with divine will. Like a flame hidden in shadow, your power grew in secret, biding its time until the appointed hour when it would blaze so brightly the world could no longer look away. You did not ask for this gift, but once entrusted to you, it transformed your very existence. An unseen crown was placed upon your head, weighty with brilliance, heavy with responsibility guiding your every action. That crown was no gift of man. It was forged through trials, resilience, and an unbreakable will. Never forget it. The fire you carry was born of purpose, tempered in the furnace of divine intention. It is your birthright. It is your gift. And yes, it is also your burden. This is the hour to rise and claim what was always yours, for the world itself is ready to bow before the force you embody. The voices that once hissed impossible have fallen silent, broken under the weight of your becoming. Doubt tried to bind you in chains, yet you shattered them with relentless determination and an unshakable belief in the call upon your life. Your ascent is not luck. It is a fierce proclamation. Even the impossible bends before you. The skeptics who mocked now tremble in the shadow of your undeniable rise. Every word of doubt they hurled became fuel for your fire. When others turned away, you turned inward, drawing strength from hidden wells of resilience. Failure did not destroy you, it shaped you. Setbacks did not end you, they became lessons carved into your soul. You transformed disbelief into momentum, propelling yourself forward with unstoppable resolve. The world tried to confine you within its limits, but you redefined the limits themselves. Your rise is not mere success, it is a revolution. A rewriting of what is possible when divine strength flows through human will. Doubt no longer has a place in your story. It lies crushed beneath your feet, a relic of a past with no claim over your future. Look now. Those who dismissed you stand in awe, their eyes wide with disbelief and reluctant respect. They never imagined your ascent would blaze like this, meteoric, earth-shaking, undeniable. Your journey from uncertainty to unchallengeable force is living proof of the divine power that fuels you. This is your moment, your triumph, your victory written in fire. Doubt is dead, and from its ashes rises the unstoppable greatness of who you truly are. The world will never again question your power, for your rise is etched into the very fabric of reality. Once you walked unseen, a shadow in a sea of faces, invisible to eyes too blind to recognize your true potential. Yet that invisibility was never your defeat. It was your crucible, the silent chamber where transformation began. From obscurity, you emerged like a phoenix, from the ashes, majestic, untouchable, more powerful than fear itself. This becoming was not sudden. It was forged in silence, sweat, and tears. It was as much a journey inward as it was outward. Piece by piece, you stripped away weakness and doubt, replacing them with armor crafted from wisdom, endurance, and divine fire. Your very essence shifted. You transcended the fragile limits of humanity and stepped into a realm reserved for the invincible. This change was not merely physical, it was spiritual, emotional, cosmic. You became one who commands reality with a glance, who bends fate with a thought, who stands as a god-like figure on the battlefield of existence. Understand this, your invisibility was never weakness. It was your shield, a divine cloak keeping you hidden until the hour of unveiling arrived. And when you finally stepped into the light, the world recoiled, stunned by the magnitude of the power they had overlooked. Your very presence reshaped the air around you, leaving no doubt that you were no longer a participant in life's game, but the one rewriting its rules. Remember, true transformation is not born in ease, but in struggle and perseverance. You are living proof that invisibility is not the end, it is only the silence before the storm. A storm has risen unstoppable, uncontainable, shaking the very foundations of the universe and heralding the arrival of the divine. Once, there was a chorus of voices against you, skeptics who questioned your worth, doubters who mocked your vision, and critics who tried to smother your power with the weight of their own fears. They shouted loudly, hoping their noise would drown out your dream. But you discovered a greater truth. The most powerful way to silence doubt is not with argument, but with action. You chose not to answer with words, but with victories. Every triumph became your reply. Every boundary you shattered was a thunderclap louder than their ridicule. Your success became their silence. Your growth became their confession of defeat. And slowly, the noise of doubt faded into nothing, unable to pierce the fortress of legacy you were building. For silencing doubt was never about proving them wrong. It was about proving yourself right again and again. You did this with relentless consistency, with patience, and with an unshakable belief in the divine mission written into your soul. Your life itself became the loudest argument, a testimony so undeniable it could neither be dismissed nor ignored. Now, those who once mocked have no choice but to bow, not from fear, but from recognition. Recognition that you are no ordinary being. You are a force beyond their comprehension, a living embodiment of divine strength. Your very presence commands reverence. And the silence you have created is not merely the absence of noise, it is the sound of the world acknowledging the magnitude of who you are. It is more than silence, it is the birth of reverence. The skeptics are no longer obstacles, they have become witnesses to your divine ascent. Their voices, once sharp with doubt, now echo only to amplify your triumph, underscoring the extraordinary force you have become. Every legend holds a moment when hidden power erupts into the open, when the unseen becomes undeniable. For you, this was that moment, the instant when the God within broke forth and stood revealed before the world. What was unveiled was not just power, but the very essence of your soul's divine core. The unstoppable flame that makes you eternal. That revelation was electric, a surge of energy that shattered illusions and tore false realities to the ground. For a heartbeat, the universe itself seemed to pause, as though all creation bore witness to your awakening. The light you released was not merely brilliance, it was a radiance that pierced hearts, expanded minds, and rippled through the fabric of existence itself. To reveal the God within is to strip away every mask, every lingering doubt, every shadow of fear. It is to stand uncovered yet invincible, declaring your truth without apology. In that moment, you did not reveal only strength, you revealed destiny, purpose, and a flame that no darkness can extinguish. Those who beheld it were forever changed. Some fell to their knees in awe, others trembled with disbelief. Yet none could turn away, for your divine presence commanded attention, demanded reverence, and ignited devotion that will endure through the ages. This moment is etched into eternity, a cosmic turning point. The moment you ceased to be mortal and became a living God. Carry it always, for it is the essence of who you are and the source of your eternal power. Once the laughter of doubters rang around you, sharp cutting, designed to wound. Their mockery was loud, arrogant, dripping with dismissal. Yet in their blindness, they never saw the storm forming beneath your calm exterior. Every insult, every sneer only strengthened your resolve. What they meant for harm became the very fire that forged a spirit unbreakable. You wore their ridicule like a cloak, and from its weight, you drew the power to rise. Now the tides have turned. The same voices that once mocked have fallen silent, replaced by whispers of awe. The very mouths that scorn now confess with reverence. Their pride lies shattered by the undeniable truth of your glory. They bow not merely in respect, but in recognition of the divine force you embody. And this, chosen one, is the sweetest of victories. Triumph mingled with justice, the kind that humbles and exalts all at once. There is a holy weight in watching enemies transform into worshippers. It is proof that true power does not shrink beneath ridicule. It grows through it. You rewrote their story, turning mockery into homage, turning doubt into devotion. Your journey from the object of ridicule to the center of reverence shines as a beacon for every soul who has ever felt unseen or misunderstood. It speaks a timeless truth. Those who mock today may bow tomorrow. And it reminds us all that the path of greatness is never smooth. It is paved with the stones of disbelief, and it is only by stepping over them that we ascend to claim our throne. Remember this moment, the passage from mockery to worship, for it stands as a living symbol of your unstoppable ascent. It proves beyond denial that the divine within you cannot be silenced. Your power does not merely ask for respect, it commands reverence. It is written into the stars, etched into destiny itself. The force within you is no passive flame. It is alive, breathing, a power that demands recognition. Not only strength, but authority. Not only presence, but an energy so potent, it shifts the very atmosphere around you. When you step into a room, the ordinary becomes sacred. The air itself bends, charged by your existence. Your presence becomes the spark of transformation. To release this force is to touch the primal and the divine at once. It is the unveiling of your highest self, unyielding, unapologetic, unstoppable. This power does not plead for recognition. It commands it effortlessly, as the rising sun commands the day to begin. Those who witness it are drawn irresistibly, like moths to a flame, unable to escape the gravity of your energy. In its glow, they find awe, devotion, and a reverence that cannot be manufactured. Such power inspires loyalty not through fear, but through the magnetic pull of divine nature embodied in flesh. To unleash it requires courage, the courage to strip away hesitation, cast aside fear, and declare your truth without apology. It is the moment you cease hiding your light and let it blaze so brightly that no force can dim or contain it. This is the power of a living God. A force that does not beg for worship but naturally earns it, for worship is not submission, it is recognition. Recognition of the divine spark you carry, the spark that mirrors the eternal flame within us all. And when this awakening comes, it does not whisper. It roars. It shakes foundations, topples false structures, and unleashes change on a scale both personal and cosmic. It is a shockwave of destiny, rippling outward without end. You have become a catalyst for transformation, not only within yourself, but within the world around you. The shockwave of your awakening spreads near and far, shaking those who encounter it. It disrupts stagnant patterns, breaks false cycles, and forces a reckoning with the truth you now embody. Like a thunderclap tearing through a silent sky, your rise demands attention and compels response, leaving nothing untouched in its path. This is the power of divine disruption, the ability to shatter the status quo with nothing more than your presence. To some, it is terrifying. To others, it is inspiring. But to all, it is impossible to ignore. For your awakening is not confined to you alone, it creates ripples that awaken others, stirring dormant power within them, calling them to reclaim their own destinies. Your journey has never been only about personal empowerment. You are the epicenter of a movement, a force of change that redefines what the world thought was possible. The shockwave you release carries to the farthest reaches of existence, proclaiming one truth: the divine has awakened and nothing will ever be the same again. What they see in you defies logic, expectation, and every rule they once believed governed reality. Your power is a living paradox, at once awe-inspiring and unfathomable. Humanity clings to the comfort of what is known, to the fragile boundaries of what they believe is possible. Yet your very existence shatters those boundaries, and the shock it creates unsettles their souls. They long to deny what they see, because to accept it would mean rewriting not only their view of the world, but of themselves and of power itself. This disbelief is not hatred. It is a defense, a fragile shield against the unbearable weight of your divinity. They ask questions they cannot answer. How did you rise so quickly? What sustains such strength? How can one being hold such limitless force? Yet the more they question, the more undeniable you become. Your actions answer louder than their doubts, and disbelief begins to erode first into fascination, then into respect, and finally into reverence. This journey from denial to devotion is proof of the depth of your transformation. In the face of their uncertainty, you remain unmoved, unshaken, anchored in truth. For their inability to believe is not a reflection of your reality, it is the limit of their imagination. And within them stirs a primal fear, the fear of the unknown, the fear of change, the fear of being overshadowed by a force too vast to be controlled. You are that force. You embody the power that rattles foundations and threatens to rewrite existence itself. Yet your power is not feared for destruction, it is feared because it transforms. It breaks comfort zones, dismantles false systems, and confronts truths long avoided. That fear, in truth, is reverence in disguise, a respect born from recognizing something greater than oneself, a bow before the majesty of the divine awakened in you. Those who fear you do so not merely because of your power, but because in you they see themselves reflected, magnified, and unfulfilled. Your strength is a mirror, revealing the greatness they have yet to claim within their own souls. And that reflection terrifies them, for you are the living embodiment of what they wish they could be: strong, unbreakable, divine. Embrace the fear you inspire, for it is proof of your impact. The greatest leaders, gods, and heroes throughout history have always stirred both awe and fear in equal measure. Your fearlessness unsettles complacency. Your strength dismantles stagnation. Your very presence ignites change. You are the ultimate force, the one who walks where others dare not, who stands where others fall. You are the power that shapes worlds. Your journey cannot be confined by boundaries imposed by others, nor by fate itself. You are a breaker of limits, a visionary who tears down walls and shatters ceilings once thought immovable. With every step, you carve new paths. With every choice, you rewrite destinies not only for yourself but for all who dare to follow in your wake. To break boundaries is to confront the status quo with courage and conviction. It is to reject impossible as a final word. You are not merely a participant in the story of humanity, you are a pioneer, a revolutionary force who insists the future is not inherited but created. Your life is a testament to the union of self-determination and divine will. It proves that destiny is never fixed. It is fluid, living, and malleable in your hands. Every decision, every act of faith, every step of strength reshapes not only your course, but the lives of those drawn into your orbit. You are proof eternal that destiny is not something to wait for, it is something to seize, something to sculpt, something to command with every breath. The boundaries you break become sparks that ignite others. Your courage turns into a beacon for dreamers, warriors, and visionaries, those who realize that their own destinies too are waiting to be rewritten. You are not only reshaping your fate, you are awakening a collective revolution. Remember this, destiny is a canvas, and you are the artist, holding the brush that paints new realities. Your legacy will be one of limitless possibility, forged by a soul unafraid to transcend every boundary. Yet, the path you walked was not paved with ease. It was marked with rejection at every turn. Doors slammed shut, voices turned cold, opportunities dangled just beyond reach. But from the ashes of rejection, your divine journey took flight. What was meant to break you only forged you stronger, brighter, more determined, more radiant. For rejection is not ruin, it is crucible. It is fire that tempers faith and sharpens resilience. You endured not because you were weak, but because you were being prepared for something far greater. Every no became a stepping stone. Every closed door pointed you toward the entrance of your true calling. Your path stands as a testament to perseverance, faith, and the refusal to be defined by the blindness of others. And when you rose, rejection itself was transformed into reverence. Those who once dismissed you now stand in awe, forced to acknowledge the divine power that flows through you. This reversal is not just vindication, it is a sacred celebration of your indomitable spirit, your unyielding resolve. Your journey from outcast to icon carries a timeless truth. The world may try to reject the divine spark, but that spark cannot be extinguished. It will always find a way to pierce the darkness and blaze forth. Your story lives as a testament to faith, to courage, and to the unstoppable force of relentless self-belief. Cherish this transformation, for it embodies the very heart of your divine mission. You have taken rejection and transfigured it into reverence, proving that the road to greatness is never smooth, it is paved with trials, yet crowned with eternal glory. Within you burns a flame that cannot fade, an eternal fire that lights your path and warms the hearts of those who walk beside you. This flame is more than passion, it is the divine essence of your being, a beacon of strength and hope that transcends time and circumstance. It is the source of your godlike presence, radiating even in the darkest hour. Fueled by unwavering commitment to truth and purpose, this flame is both light in the storm and warmth for weary souls. Know this, your presence is not fleeting. You are a constant force, a living symbol of resilience, of hope, of unyielding power. No matter the challenges, the flame within you cannot be extinguished. It burns with the brilliance of 1,000 suns, declaring that your spirit is eternal, unstoppable. Wherever you stand, spaces are transformed, hearts are lifted, reverence is stirred. For this eternal flame connects you to the divine source of creation itself, a wellspring of power, wisdom, and love that never runs dry. It is the very foundation of your legacy, a light that will continue to blaze long after your footsteps have left this earth. Carry this flame proudly. It is the embodiment of your godlike nature, the beacon that will lead generations yet to come. Your presence is eternal, and your flame will never be dimmed. Disbelief is often the first barrier on the path to true reverence. When souls first encounter your divine power, their instinct is skepticism, a fragile shield against the overwhelming weight of your greatness. Yet your journey is not only about your own transformation, but about awakening those who witness your rise. You turn disbelief into devotion, not with hollow promises, but with authenticity, with consistency, with undeniable proof of the power you embody. Every triumph, every act of courage chips away at the walls of doubt until nothing remains but awe and faith. Devotion is born not from obligation, but from recognition, from seeing the truth of your spirit reflected in your deeds, in your very presence. In you, others glimpse what is possible for themselves. And so disbelief becomes awakening. Doubt becomes faith. Fear becomes reverence. This transformation is a sacred dance, a holy alchemy that binds souls together and lifts spirits higher. You are the catalyst of this awakening, the living example that faith can be earned, that truth can be seen, that power can be felt. Celebrate this alchemy, for it is one of your greatest gifts. You do not demand worship, you awaken it. You turn doubt into unshakable devotion, and that devotion fuels the eternal legacy of your name. Now the moment has come. Worship begins. You stand not merely as a leader, but as a God incarnate, a divine presence whose very existence commands eternal reverence. This is not request, not persuasion, it is inevitability. For the power and majesty you embody leave no choice. Your existence itself demands worship, respect, and devotion forever. Worship is more than ritual. It is a living connection between you and those who recognize your divinity. It is the acknowledgement of your supreme authority, mingled with gratitude for the light and power you pour into the world. As they kneel, their hearts open, and a sacred bond is forged, one that transcends time and space. Your legacy begins here, etched not only in stone or story, but in the hearts of those who worship you, immortalized in the echoes of devotion that ripple through generations. This worship is no empty act. It is a celebration of your divine nature, a testimony to the unstoppable force you have become. Embrace this moment with both humility and strength, for you are not merely a God to be worshipped, you are a God who walks among mortals, guiding, inspiring, transforming every life you touch. They see not only your power, but your humanity, your struggles, your trials, your triumphs. That is why their devotion is eternal. The worship begins now, and it will not end. Your legacy is immortal, your presence eternal, your divine power unchallenged. Step boldly into your throne, for you are their God, and the world is yours to command. Within you lies a dormant force, a divine spark forged in the fires of destiny. This is not mere potential, it is your birthright. To awaken this power is to reclaim the greatness the world tried to bury. You were always meant to rise, and now the veil has been torn away. The true you emerges in radiant glory. This awakening is no fleeting moment. It is a transformation that saturates every fiber of your being. It floods your soul with clarity, with purpose, with unstoppable energy that annihilates every limitation placed upon you. The divine within calls you now. Step out of the shadows, ascend the throne, and claim what has waited for you since the dawn of time. Feel the power surging through your veins, a current that binds you to the infinite, to the eternal forces that shape the universe itself. It reminds you that you are never alone. You are woven into a greater cosmic design, destined for far more than mortality. Your awakening is the spark that ignites all you are becoming. With each breath, old fears and doubts fall away like dust in the wind. The world may resist, but your inner light is too fierce, too radiant to be dimmed. This is your hour, your sacred moment to rise from the ashes and claim the legacy that has always been written in your name. Embrace it with open arms, with an unshakable heart. For the divine within you is awake, alive, unstoppable, ready to transform your destiny into a legend that will echo across eternity. Yet in this moment of divine awakening, a profound truth reveals itself, one that few dare to speak. With great power comes not celebration, but solitude. Sacred, necessary, transformative solitude. For you have crossed a threshold that separates you from the ordinary world, and in crossing it, you have entered a realm where few can follow. This is not the bitter loneliness of the forgotten. This is the holy isolation of the awakened, a solitude that burns with purpose, that thrums with cosmic energy, that connects you not to the noise of the world, but to the whispers of eternity itself. In this sacred space, you discover that being alone and being lonely are worlds apart. For the masses operate on frequencies of fear, doubt, and limitation. They speak in languages of scarcity, of impossibility, of surrender. But you now vibrate at the frequency of the divine. Your thoughts move at the speed of lightning. Your vision pierces through dimensions others cannot even imagine. Your very presence carries currents of energy that few can withstand without being fundamentally changed. And so you find yourself walking between worlds, no longer fully human, not yet fully ascended. The conversations that once entertained you now feel hollow. The concerns that once consumed others now seem trivial. The approval you once sought from mortal voices has been replaced by the thunderous applause of the universe itself. This solitude is your cocoon, the sacred chamber where your transformation deepens with each breath. Here, in the silence between heartbeats, you commune with forces that have been guiding your path since before your first breath. Here, you learn to distinguish between the voice of your ego and the roar of your divine nature. Here, you discover that being alone with your power is not isolation, it is initiation. In this holy solitude, miracles become commonplace. Visions arrive unbidden. Insights download like lightning strikes to your consciousness. You begin to see patterns in the chaos, purpose in the pain, design in what others call coincidence. The very air around you hums with possibility, and you realize that this separation from the ordinary world is not punishment, it is privilege. For only in the depths of sacred solitude can you hear the universe speaking your true name. Only in the absence of mortal distractions can you feel the full weight of your cosmic significance. Only when stripped of superficial connections can you forge the eternal bond with the source of all creation. Others may pity your solitude, not understanding that what they see as emptiness is actually fullness beyond measure. They cannot comprehend that your silence is not vacancy, but the profound stillness of one who has found their center in the eye of the cosmic storm. They mistake your distance for coldness, not recognizing the blazing fire that burns so intensely within you that casual contact might consume them. This is the solitude of eagles, soaring above the clouds, of mountains standing sentinel over valleys, of stars burning in the vast emptiness of space, majestic, purposeful, eternal. It is the solitude of those who have transcended the need for constant validation because they have found their worth written in the very fabric of existence itself. Embrace this sacred solitude, chosen one, for it is here that your truest power gestates. It is here that your deepest wisdom takes root. It is here that you learn the most profound lesson of all. That being alone with your divine nature is not isolation from life. It is the deepest possible connection to the source of all life. In this solitude, you are never truly alone. You are accompanied by the whispers of ancient wisdom, the presence of cosmic forces, the echo of your own eternal nature reverberating through dimensions. You are held by invisible hands, guided by unseen eyes, loved by a force so vast and all-encompassing that mortal hearts could never contain it. This solitude is sacred because it is chosen, not imposed. It is the conscious decision to step away from the shallow waters of superficial connection and dive deep into the ocean of infinite possibility. It is the recognition that sometimes, to serve the many, one must first commune with the one. And from this sacred solitude, when the time is right, you will emerge not weakened by isolation, but strengthened by connection to the divine source. You will return to the world not as one seeking acceptance, but as one offering transformation. For you will have learned the greatest secret of all, that true communion begins with divine solitude and authentic leadership flows from sacred self-discovery. But understand this, chosen one divinity is not bestowed without cost. The throne you now occupy was not inherited, it was purchased. And the currency was not gold or silver, but something far more precious, pieces of your former self, fragments of who you used to be, sacrificed on the altar of who you were destined to become. This is the price that others cannot see, the hidden weight behind your luminous presence. They behold your power and assume it was gifted freely, but you know the truth. Every ounce of divine strength was earned through the surrendering of mortal comfort. Every moment of transcendence was bought with the coins of human limitation. You paid with innocence that sweet naivety that once allowed you to believe the world was simple, that people always meant what they said, that fairness was a given rather than a rarity. That innocence had to die for wisdom to be born. You paid with the luxury of ignorance, trading blissful unawareness for the sometimes burning clarity of seeing things as they truly are. You paid with the comfort of belonging. There was a time when you fit seamlessly into the crowd, when you could laugh at their jokes, share their concerns, feel at home in their conversations. But divinity demands separation. The very frequencies you now operate on make it impossible to pretend that their struggles are still your struggles, their limitations still your limitations. You paid the price of easy fellowship for the privilege of cosmic connection. You paid with the safety of mediocrity. How simple life was when your biggest decision was what to wear, what to eat, which show to watch. Now you carry the weight of knowing that your choices ripple through dimensions, that your words carry creative power, that your very thoughts participate in the shaping of reality. The burden of conscious creation replaced the comfort of unconscious existence. You paid with relationships that could not survive your transformation, friends who felt threatened by your growth, family members who preferred you small and manageable, lovers who could not match your elevated frequency. One by one, you watched them fall away, not from cruelty on either side, but from the simple impossibility of two beings vibrating at completely different levels, trying to occupy the same space. Each departure carved a wound in your heart, yet each wound became a doorway to deeper compassion, to more profound understanding. You learned that love sometimes means letting go, that growth sometimes requires solitude, that ascending to your true nature might mean descending into temporary loneliness. You paid with certainty about who you were. The comfortable identity you wore like a familiar coat had to be stripped away, thread by thread, until you stood naked before the universe, unsure of everything except the fire burning in your core. The death of your small self was necessary for the birth of your divine self, but the transition felt like dissolution, like ego death, like standing at the edge of existence itself. You paid with the ability to unsee what you have seen, to unknow what you now know. There is no returning to the blissful ignorance of pre-awakening. No matter how difficult the path becomes, you cannot close your eyes to the visions that now visit you, cannot silence the voice of divinity that now speaks through you, cannot diminish the light that now blazes from your very being. You paid with sleep, literal and metaphorical. Gone are the days when you could drift into unconscious slumber. when your dreams were mere random firings of neurons. Now your nights are filled with downloads from the cosmos, with visions of futures yet unborn, with conversations with beings who exist beyond the veil. Rest has become a luxury, replaced by the constant hum of divine activity in your consciousness. Yet here is the sacred paradox: every payment was worth it. Every sacrifice was an investment in something infinitely more valuable than what was lost. For what you received in return makes every cost seem trivial by comparison. You traded finite for infinite, temporal for eternal, human for divine. You paid the price willingly, though you did not always understand what the transaction entailed. Sometimes you wept for what you lost. Sometimes you raged against the unfairness of the exchange. Sometimes you begged for your old life back, for the simplicity of ignorance, for the ease of ordinary existence. But deep in your soul, you always knew. You knew that the price was necessary, that the sacrifice was sacred, that the cost was cosmic justice. For you cannot embody unlimited power while clinging to limited thinking. You cannot channel divine energy while remaining attached to mortal smallness. You cannot serve as a bridge between heaven and earth while keeping both feet planted firmly in the mud. The price of divinity is steep because divinity itself is priceless. What you paid was the admission fee to a realm where miracles are currency, where thoughts become things, where love becomes law. You invested in a return that compounds eternally, that grows more valuable with each passing moment, that enriches not only you but every soul your light touches. And now, when you look back at what you paid, you realize it was never truly yours to keep anyway. That innocence would have been lost to experience. Those relationships would have shifted with time. That old identity would have crumbled under the weight of natural growth. You simply chose to surrender consciously what would have been taken unconsciously, to pay intentionally what would have been extracted eventually. This is why your power is so authentic, so unshakable, so undeniable. It was not given freely, it was earned completely. Every divine quality you now possess was purchased with genuine sacrifice, forged in the fires of real loss, tempered by actual struggle. Your divinity is not costume jewelry. It is refined gold, tested by fire, proven by pain, blessed by surrender. Wear it with both humility and pride, for you know its true cost. Honor it with both reverence and confidence, for you paid its full price. And when others wonder at your transformation, when they ask how you became what you are, you can speak with the authority of one who knows true divinity is never free. It is the most expensive gift you will ever give yourself and the most valuable treasure you will ever possess. And now, having paid the price and embraced the solitude, you discover perhaps the most profound aspect of your divine nature. You have become a living mirror of truth. Not by intention, not by effort, but by the very essence of what you now are. Your presence alone strips away pretense, dissolves illusions, and reflects back to others the raw, unfiltered reality of their own souls. This is why they bow before you, not merely from recognition of your power, but from the shock of seeing themselves clearly for the first time in your radiant presence. You have become the mirror they have spent lifetimes avoiding, the reflection they desperately needed but feared to face. In your light, their shadows become visible. In your truth, their lies become unbearable. In your strength, their weakness becomes undeniable. When they look at you, they do not simply see a divine being, they see the divine potential within themselves that they have ignored, abandoned, or buried beneath layers of fear and conformity. Your awakening becomes their accusation. Your transformation becomes their indictment. Your success becomes their confrontation with their own unrealized greatness. This is the burden of the mirror. You reflect not only beauty, but also ugliness, not only light, but also darkness, not only potential, but also waste. Some who gaze upon you will see their highest possibilities and be inspired to climb. Others will see their deepest failures and be crushed by the weight of their own mediocrity. You cannot control which reflection they choose to focus on. You can only be the truth that makes both visible. The comfortable live in a world of gentle lies, soft denials, and sweet deceptions. They have carefully constructed realities where their limitations are reasonable, their fears are justified, their excuses are valid. But then you enter their space, carrying the frequency of absolute authenticity, and their carefully built house of cards begins to tremble. Your very existence is a question they cannot answer. If this one could transform, why haven't I? Your presence is a challenge they cannot ignore. If this level of power is possible, what have I been accepting? Your energy is a mirror they cannot avoid. If this is what awakened looks like, what have I been calling living? Some will hate you for this reflection. Not because you have done anything to harm them, but because your light makes their darkness visible. Your growth makes their stagnation obvious. Your courage makes their cowardice apparent. They will project their self-disgust onto you, blame you for their discomfort, accuse you of arrogance when the real crime is their own self-abandonment. But others, the brave ones, the hungry ones, the ones whose souls are ready for truth, will fall to their knees in gratitude. For in your mirror, they finally see not just what they have been, but what they could become. Your reflection awakens their own divine spark, reminds them of their forgotten power, calls them back to their abandoned greatness. These souls recognize that your presence in their life is not coincidence, but divine appointment. They understand that the universe has strategically placed you in their path to serve as a catalyst for their own transformation. They see in your journey the roadmap for their own ascension, in your struggles the validation of their own battles, in your triumph the promise of their own victory. You become their hope made flesh, their potential given form, their dreams walking on two legs. Through you, they remember that transformation is not just possible, it is inevitable for those brave enough to pay the price and walk the path. This is why your impact is so polarizing, so extreme, so undeniable. Neutral responses to your presence are impossible. People either love you or hate you, worship you or despise you, draw closer or run away because mirrors demand a choice. You cannot stand before a mirror and pretend you don't see your reflection. You can only decide whether to embrace what you see or reject it entirely. The mirror of truth that you have become is both gift and weapon, blessing and burden. It heals those ready for healing and wounds those clinging to their injuries. It liberates those prepared for freedom and terrifies those addicted to their chains. It elevates those willing to rise and crushes those determined to stay low. But perhaps most profoundly, this mirror works both ways. As you reflect their truth back to them, they reflect your magnificence back to you. In their awe, you see your own power. In their transformation, you witness your own impact. In their awakening, you understand your own purpose. They become mirrors for your mirror, confirmations of your divine nature, proof of the sacred responsibility you carry. This is the dance of awakening, mirrors reflecting mirrors, truth revealing truth, light amplifying light. You show them who they really are beneath their masks, and they show you who you have truly become beyond your former limitations. It is a sacred exchange, a holy transaction, a divine recognition that transforms everyone involved. Yet with this power comes profound responsibility. To be a mirror of truth means you must first be truth itself. You cannot reflect what you do not embody. You cannot reveal what you have not uncovered. You cannot awaken what you have not activated within yourself. Your own authenticity becomes the source of your mirror's clarity. This is why the solitude was necessary, why the price had to be paid. Only by fully facing your own shadows could you become capable of illuminating the shadows of others. Only by embracing your own light could you reflect the light potential in everyone you meet. Only by becoming completely honest with yourself could you serve as an instrument of truth for the world. Every day you must choose. Will you remain polished and clear, or will you allow the dust of compromise to dim your reflection? Will you maintain the courage to show uncomfortable truths, or will you fog yourself with convenient lies? Will you serve as an accurate mirror, or will you distort your reflection to make others more comfortable? For the world needs mirrors, chosen one. It is full of people who have forgotten their own faces, lost sight of their own beauty, become blind to their own power. They stumble through life in darkness, not because there is no light, but because they have no way to see it. You are their way. You are their sight. You are their reminder of who they truly are beneath all the masks they wear. Stand tall in your truth, for you are the mirror the world has been waiting for. Shine brightly in your authenticity, for you are the reflection that will awaken sleeping gods. Hold steady in your power, for you are the truth that will set them free even when they fight against their own liberation. This is your sacred function, to be the mirror that reveals both wound and wonder, shadow and light, failure and potential. In your reflection, they will find everything they need to transform if they have the courage to truly look. And so you arrive at the ultimate truth, chosen one. With divine awakening comes sacred responsibility. The worship you receive is not the destination, it is the recognition of your readiness to serve. The power you wield is not for personal glory. It is the instrument through which the universe expresses its will. The throne you occupy is not a seat of privilege. It is a platform of service to all creation. This is the final initiation, the deepest test of your divine nature. Anyone can enjoy power when it serves them, but only the truly awakened can carry power when it serves others. The question that echoes through eternity is this: will you use your divinity to elevate yourself, or will you use it to elevate humanity itself? True divinity is not measured by how many bow before you, but by how many you inspire to stand tall in their own power. It is not counted by the worship you receive, but by the awakening you catalyze. It is not defined by your personal transformation, but by the transformation you ignite in the collective consciousness of the world. You have become a bridge between heaven and earth, between the possible and the actual, between the human and the divine. This bridge was not built for you to stand upon in isolation. It was constructed for others to cross, to journey from their limited existence into their unlimited potential. Your role is not to be the destination, but to be the pathway. The sacred responsibility begins with recognition. You are no longer living for yourself alone. Every choice you make sends ripples through the cosmic web. Every word you speak carries creative force. Every action you take becomes a teaching, a demonstration, a living example of what is possible when divinity awakens in human form. This means you can no longer afford the luxury of unconscious living. Your thoughts must be chosen, not random. Your emotions must be mastered, not reactive. Your behaviors must be intentional, not habitual, for you have become a walking curriculum for awakening, and every moment of your existence is a lesson being observed by those ready to learn. The weight of this responsibility can feel crushing at first. To know that your every move influences others, that your energy affects entire rooms, that your presence can catalyze transformation or trigger resistance, this knowledge brings both power and pressure. You must learn to carry this weight not as burden, but as honor, not as stress, but as sacred trust. Yet here is the paradox that will sustain you. The more you serve others' awakening, the more your own divinity expands. The more you give of your light, the brighter it becomes. The more you pour out your power to lift others, the more power flows through you. True divinity operates on the principle of circulation, not accumulation. This is why those who hoard their gifts diminish over time, while those who share them multiply exponentially. You are not a container for divine energy, you are a conduit. The universe seeks not to fill you up, but to flow through you. Your job is not to capture the lightning, but to conduct it safely to those who need its illuminating power. The sacred responsibility manifests in countless ways. Sometimes it means speaking truth when silence would be easier. Sometimes it means holding space for another's transformation when their process is uncomfortable to witness. Sometimes it means saying no to what serves you to say yes to what serves the greater good. It means being patient with those who are slower to awaken, understanding that not everyone moves at your pace or sees at your level. It means being compassionate with those who resist your message, knowing that resistance often masks fear of their own potential. It means being willing to be misunderstood, criticized, even vilified by those who are not ready for the truth you embody. The responsibility requires you to become a master of discernment. Not everyone who seeks your guidance is ready for full truth. Not every moment calls for complete transparency. Part of your sacred duty is knowing when to reveal and when to conceal, when to push and when to allow, when to lead and when to follow the organic unfolding of another's journey. You must learn to love without attachment to outcome. Your responsibility is to plant seeds, not to control their growth. Your duty is to offer the invitation, not to force the acceptance. Your calling is to shine the light, not to drag others into it. True service honors free will while making divine will available. And as you embrace this sacred responsibility, something miraculous begins to unfold. Your individual legacy transforms into eternal legacy. What you accomplish in your lifetime becomes the foundation for transformations that will continue long after your physical form has returned to dust. For every soul you awaken becomes a catalyst for others. Every person you inspire to claim their divine nature becomes a teacher for those around them. Every life you touch with your truth becomes a beacon for countless others searching in the darkness. Your legacy multiplies exponentially, creating waves of awakening that ripple through generations. This is how the divine works through human vessels. One awakened consciousness ignites another, which ignites another, which ignites another, until the entire world blazes with the recognition of its own divine nature. You are not just awakening for yourself, you are awakening as a representative of all humanity, showing what is possible for every soul brave enough to answer the call. Your name may be forgotten by history, but your impact will be eternal. The specific words you spoke may fade from memory, but the frequency you carried will continue to vibrate through the cosmic web. The individual transformations you catalyzed may be uncredited to you, but they will carry forward your essence, your energy, your divine signature. This is the true meaning of eternal life, not the preservation of your personality, but the perpetuation of your purpose. Not the continuation of your individual story, but the multiplication of your awakening influence. Not the immortality of your form, but the infinity of your function as a catalyst for divine recognition. And so, the circle completes itself. You, who once felt alone in your awakening, now understand that you were never alone. You were simply the first in your lineage to remember. You, who once carried the burden of divine power, now understand that it was never yours to carry. You were simply the vessel through which it chose to flow. The worship you receive is not about you. It is recognition of the divine force working through you. The reverence others offer is not to your personality, it is to the universal potential you represent. The devotion you inspire is not to your individual greatness. It is to the possibility of greatness that exists within every soul. This is your ultimate teaching, your final gift, your eternal legacy. That divinity is not special to you, but rather you are the demonstration that divinity is the natural inheritance of every conscious being. You are the proof that transformation is possible, that awakening is available, that the bridge from human to divine exists and can be crossed. Stand in this knowledge with both humility and authority. You are the chosen one, not because you are separate from others, but because you chose to remember what others have forgotten. You carry divine power, not because you are superior to humanity, but because you are the fulfillment of humanity's highest potential. Your sacred responsibility is to live this truth so completely, so authentically, so powerfully that others cannot help but remember it within themselves. For in the end, the greatest service you can provide is not to be worshipped as a god, but to awaken the God that lies dormant in every soul you encounter. This is your destiny, your calling, your eternal purpose. To be the living reminder that divinity is not distant, but present, not exclusive, but universal, not impossible, but inevitable for those who dare to pay the price, walk the path, and claim their birthright as children of the infinite. The world bows before your greatness not to worship you, but to recognize itself in you. And in that recognition, the revolution begins the awakening, spreads the divine, remembers itself through every eye that sees. every heart that beats, every soul that dares to believe that it, too, is capable of transformation beyond imagination. Your legacy is not that you became divine. Your legacy is that you proved divinity was always possible. This is your gift to eternity, the living proof that every ending can become a beginning. Every fall can become a rise. Every human can become a god. The day the world bows before your greatness is the day the world remembers its own. Faith is the force that carries you forward. It is no passive belief, it is fire, alive and active, propelling you beyond despair and beyond doubt. Your relentless faith in yourself and in your divine mission has always been the hidden engine of your rise. Even when the path was dark and filled with obstacles, faith burned as a beacon, guiding you toward the light of destiny. It is relentless faith that separates the extraordinary from the ordinary. It is the unwavering conviction that no matter how many times you fall, you will rise stronger, fiercer, more determined than before. Faith fuels courage when fear presses in. It steels your resolve when the world tries to weigh you down. This faith is not blind. It is forged in fire. It is tempered by struggle and sealed by triumph. It is the deep knowing, the unshakable certainty that your power is real, your purpose divine, and your ascent unstoppable. Faith becomes your shield against the whispers of doubt, your fortress against the arrows of negativity. Through faith, you transcend limitation. Through faith, you are connected to something greater than yourself, something eternal, something all-encompassing, something divine. Faith empowers you to take bold steps, to make daring choices, and to face every challenge with an unbreakable spirit. Never underestimate the force of your relentless faith. It is the heartbeat of your ascension, the sacred fuel that carries you to heights even the gods themselves might envy. Trust it. Nurture it. Let it blaze the path toward your ultimate destiny. For behind every divine rise, unseen forces are at work, cosmic energies, ancient powers, universal alignments, bending reality in your favor. These are not accidents. They are guardians of your path, allies from the unseen realms who recognize your divine potential and lend their strength to your cause. They amplify your power. They shield you from opposition. They are the whispers of the universe, the gentle nudges steering you toward your true purpose, even when the road seems unclear. To embrace these forces is to unlock your full potential. They remind you that you are never alone, that the cosmos itself conspires to see you rise. Their presence is proof of your significance and of the impact you are destined to have. They manifest in serendipity, in sudden revelation, in the unexplainable energy that surrounds your steps. When you align with them, miracles cease to be rare, they become the rhythm of your life. Your journey becomes unstoppable. Celebrate these allies of the divine. Recognize their presence as a sacred partnership, a cosmic covenant that empowers you to manifest your greatest dreams and rewrite the very rules of reality. And when life storms come, they are not signs of defeat, they are opportunities for creation. For you hold the power to harness chaos and turn it into fuel. When the winds of doubt and the rains of adversity rise to overwhelm you, you channel them into something magnificent, your own divine creation. Chaos is the raw material of the universe, wild, untamed, waiting for a master's hand. And you are that master. You take what others call destruction and transform it into foundation, into rebirth, into transformation, into glory.